Welcome to our podcast, Amit.
Thank you for the introduction, Kanerika. So the primary focus of all the organization was more about reporting.
Hello, everyone. Welcome back to our podcast, The Digital Shift by Kanerika. This is your host, Kanerika, and today it's our very first in person podcast, and we are really excited about it. So, for today's episode, we thought we want to bring in someone who knows data analytics inside and out. So, who's better than our very own Chief Analytics Officer, Amit Chandak? Amit has over 22 plus years of experience in this space. He's also Microsoft Data Platform MVP and Power BI super user. And today we are going deep on data analytics, where it's headed and why it matters more than ever now, and specifically why Microsoft Fabric is changing the game for organizations. So let's get started. Welcome to our podcast, Amit.
Thank you for the introduction, Kanerika. It's a really pleasure to be part of this first in-person podcast, and I'm looking forward to it.
So, Amit, you have been in this industry for over 2 decades now. So, when you talk to organizations today about data analytics, how do you think it has changed from what it was 5 years ago?
5 years ago, the primary focus of all the organization was more about reporting, analytics, drilling down into the data, and finding out what can help them in taking decisions. It was a journey of making Power BI or Tableau or all your analytics tools self-service. So organizations were focusing more on self-service BI, where the all the departments can be enabled, the end user can be enabled with the data, and they can take decision based on data. But over last 5 years, things have changed. With AI now, we are not only looking for data for decision making. We also want that the agentic AI should make decisions for us. So we are moving from descriptive BI to prescriptive AI, or prescriptive or predictive. Now here, don't think that I'm going to go and execute algorithm and it's going to give me data which I'm going to club up together along with my BI stuff, and then going to analyze it and then take a decision. No, we have went one step forward with the emergence of this agentic AI. What we want is that the BI should tell us what is happening, why it is happening. So what I was doing as a diagnosis, or what I was finding as a descriptive BI, the BI tools along with the co-pilots and AI should be able to tell me. They should help me in next level where process also takes care. So let's say if I have one observation on my data and that's require a next process, sending out email, sending reminders, it should be able to do. Now once those things get responded, we should be able to take action. So BI along with AI is becoming whole agentic world, where not only the end users are getting what action need to be done, some of these actions are also getting performed, and the role of the end user is to making sure that the business grows, and AI, whatever decisions are coming out, they make sure that the right set of decisions are taken, and we are moving the organization in the best possible direction.
That is actually a very big shift.
Yes.
So, moving to next question, I want to ask, when you are working with these organizations, what are you seeing? Are these organizations actually equipped to handle modern data analytics, or is there a gap between what they need and what they have?
We are working with many organizations, and some of them are really data mature organizations. But most of the organizations are not at some level. So a data mature organization is the one where the entire data is on cloud. It is ready for AI consumption. It can automate your process and data together and can help you in decision making. But what is happening with some of the organizations? They are still there on the legacy tools. Some of them are on-premise, part of them is on-premise, part of that is on cloud. The data is not so mature, it is not cloud native, it is not ready for AI if you ask me. So if the organizational data is not ready for AI, we cannot help an organization to become future ready, or where AI can help them in decision making, or create that complete flow where from the data comes the information and the process handled by AI to create that complete ecosystem of agentic AI when your lot of processing got automated and you get time to take decisions better, or you get to execute your entire process better. Now, if the organization has to reach there, they actually have to migrate their entire data to cloud native sources where AI enablement should be really easy. In like our current timings, you should be having something on Microsoft Fabric or Azure ecosystem or Azure Databricks or Snowflake kind of environments. And this is a combination. I'm just talking about few sections of it. You need to have the greatest and latest modern technology in terms of your data infrastructure, which include data lakes, which include warehousing, which include how your data getting collected. Are you getting the real-time information or not? If you are not getting the real-time information, if you don't have the cloud native data, taking AI to the next level or AI taking you to the next level is fairly not possible. So we need to have these migrations as early as possible to the latest and the greatest technologies in the data area, which will help organization to grow in this area. And that's where vendors like Kanerika can help you, because we have created all these migration to take you from the legacy tool to the modern ecosystem, which will help you to take the full advantage of AI.
So when you are in those conversations with CTOs, CFOs, about closing this gap, so what's the one thing that you notice that they consistently get wrong?
See, one of the things which has remained a challenge since the beginning of this data analytics area is the adoption. See, we feel comfortable where we are. We don't want to change. And change management is something which is really a big challenge in the adoption of BI. Now, while we are talking about data democratization for last 15 years or more, we have still not reached to that level where everybody in the organization is enabled with the data decision making, or we are not able to reach that last step where everybody has that informed data decision, or everybody has that data because of which they can take informed decision. The adoption is a culture, and that is the shift we have to quickly make it in our organization. And that is where we need to tell everybody in our organizations that decision is not by what your intuition is. Decision is not something which you think today it is best, because it could be wrong. When we support it by data, when we have actual data backing up our decision, then it is going to be the best decision. Whether we go to the shop floor, whether we are sitting on the C-level meetings, every decision that we take need to be backed up by data. And in today's era, it should be backed up by the entire research done by AI on your data. And then we take those all facts together and take a decision and take future moving steps. So that is where I think, even when we talk about what we have observed in last 10-15 years, or which is going to be continuing when AI comes in, because it's again new kind of adoption. Yeah. Previously, like, think about people who were, whom we moved from Excel to dashboards. Now there are no more dashboards. Coming 2 years, you would only be talking to a system. Okay, it will generate visual, it will generate whatever you want, but it's again a change. Yeah. And that is where, but this change is more welcoming than, I think, if you ask me, the previous one, because here it is more conversational and it is more in your natural language. So you will feel more comfortable. So I think I think that adoption change organization has to bring in their organization quickly to make sure that, they don't face more challenges in their BI or AI adoption across the organization.
They need to consistently change and adopt.
Yes.
So Amit, when you assess these organizations' analytics platform, especially those who are using legacy BI tools, what are the red flags that tells you that their current platform is holding them back?
See, when we talk about legacy platform, to me, any legacy platform is one which has not modernized itself, which has not moved to cloud native. So some of the legacy platform has done that job. They have moved to the cloud native. So they are the modern platform. See, the red flags is the data residing in on-premise. So if your data is on-premise, your data is not reaching to the end user on time. Your jobs are running continuously and it's taking hours and hours and the information is not ready. You are still there at the monthly level or weekly level, not even reaching day level or not reaching beyond day level. This is the time of real time analytics where decisions are taken based on as soon as the data arrives. I'm not saying that every data has to arrive instantaneously for the decision making, but there are critical data points which should be available where you have algorithms which are already created and learned from the data, and as soon as the data arrive they tell you, okay, this is what it is. Like best example is your credit card transaction which is happening right now, but these kind of data have these kind of data available in every organization where quick decision making need to be taken as soon as that data arrives. It is always not the credit card transaction for say. So what we need to do is all such organizations need to modernize their data infrastructure and need to become cloud native and to be on platforms which are AI enabled. In this era, if your platform is not making you AI enabled, it is going to be really difficult for organization to excel in future.
So Microsoft Fabric has become a major player in data world. So for those who does not know, what is Microsoft Fabric and why is Microsoft positioning it as a future of data platforms?
Microsoft is there in data platform for quite some time. But one good thing Microsoft has done is that every 5 years or every few years it evolves itself into a new technology. It listens to the end user and it try to build something which is needed. So previously if we look, Microsoft started with like SSRS, SSAS, and then you bring your reporting to you Excel and do the analysis. There they bought Power Pivot and your pivot visuals and all those. But later on they realized that it is the era of self-service BI. That's where Power BI came in. When the Power BI was maturing, that entire when Power BI was maturing, the entire data ecosystem also got matured. We got so many things on Azure which can help us, which include Azure Data Factory, and then we got Azure Synapse. So Microsoft was always listening. And what Microsoft realized, even looking at their own ecosystem and all other ecosystem, that though the Power BI is a choice of tool, but this entire data infrastructure is fragmented. Part of the data lying in data lakes, part of the data lying in data warehouses, and then everything need to be analyzed at Power BI. Power BI works best when it is data is there inside the Power BI, what we call import mode. So data need to be bring in Power BI. So what we are doing, we are bringing data from everywhere, keeping it in multiple places, creating all those copies, and then finally analyzing it. So what is happening? The raw data lying in data lakes, and then maybe data scientists are using it, and then we bring it to warehouse where our data analysts are using it. Then we bring it to Power BI where our decision makers, the end users are using it. Different people, different set of data, different perspectives, and this data all is not connected. Basically you will say, okay, it's getting refreshed in entire day once or twice or thrice, but think about it, every refresh takes a time, 10 minutes, 5 minutes, 15 minutes. So there is not a single copy of data at any given point of time. It may be there for 5 hours, 4 hours, but what is happening, you are doing so much of work bringing and maintaining this data, and so-called one source of truth is not actually one source of truth. There is one Power BI source of truth, there is one database source of truth, there is one lake data source, there is one data scientist source of truth. So it's scattered everywhere. And that is where Microsoft thought about it, okay, there is something wrong inside this entire ecosystem. And one of the reason where, or one of the thing which they found out, other than what our major regions are, that we are storing data in different formats, especially the structured data. See, unstructured cannot be in same format. That is also a hindrance in creating this bigger ecosystem, because data warehouse doesn't understand how lake stores the data, and both these data is not understood by Power BI. So definitely they need their own copy of data to optimize the performance of the tool. See, Power BI want to work best, data warehouse want to work best, data science want to work best, so they need data in their own format. Then what happens? In most of the organization, there is a time when reporting is at peak, other time where the ETL or the transformation is at peak, and I have different capacities for this because they are different tools. I am buying different compute for this, I am buying different compute for this. No single compute can handle all these. And then data lying everywhere, something in, even in, let's say, if I have everything in Azure, they might be in different storage locations. And I might have to, bring them together, maybe just creating shortcuts or something. So what Microsoft has done is they realize, okay, this is time to do some ground up work. It's not just creating a kit and giving to offer to someone, it's going to help out. So Microsoft Fabric is not a kit. It's a thought process where the entire ecosystem has been built ground up. We have this one lake where their entire data can stay. It is virtualized. You may have region specific data in a region, but it's virtualized to look at like single lake. So we got one lake. Then single compute can be used for all the workloads. So in Microsoft Fabric, we have all the workload which you need. We have workload for data engineering. We have workload for data factory, which is basically for your transformation. We have Spark workloads. We have workload for Power BI. We have workload for real-time engineering, event house, event streams. So everything which you need from your data ingestion to data transformation to data science, data engineering, everything is there in Microsoft Fabric. Can use this one single compute. But yes, for practical purpose, one single compute might not be sufficient for bigger organizations. So you can have multiple compute. Microsoft Fabric is designed for that you can use one compute, you can use multiple computes, and you get that flexibility. And then comes the structured data format. So entire structured data is stored in one single format, that is delta format. Whether it is a lake house, whether it is a warehouse, or whether it's any other thing which is storing the data for the consumption of the reporting analytics, is storing in delta format. What does it do? That when I have the data in the lake house as a structured one, warehouse doesn't need a copy of it. Same way, Power BI doesn't need a copy of the data in the lake house and warehouse. It can directly access it. So what is happening? I don't need to create n number of ETLs. The data scientist, the data analyst, and the end user all looking at the same copy of data. I don't need those tons of things to be done in Power BI before you can see the data. Previously, what used to happen? Think about a scenario that we used to take 2 months from source to Power BI, and there is no visibility here. What happens in today's? The moment I land my data, even in the bronze layer, I can have a discussion with the end user by putting it into just a simple semantic model and see, okay, this is how your data looks like. They can go and validate it in reports, and it is happening with our customers. Those people who were previously not able to see the data, they ask us, okay, as soon as you got in the bronze layer, give me a model. I'm going to count the rows, I'm going to count the key KPIs, and then let's discuss what is the more logic we need to put in, and I will help you out in developing that. So think about, we are all discussing at Power BI level or Excel level. We have analyzed in Excel. And we are not talking, okay, this is my select query, this is how it works. All those things are not coming. The technology is not coming in the way because we are talking on functional tools. So while the data is there in a lake house or warehouse, we are talking on Power BI, where discussion is happening at one single place. So all those barriers which are coming because of different storage format, different computes, and people using different tools is taken away in this one single unified platform, Microsoft Fabric. And that is why not only Microsoft, partners like us and customers are really optimistic. And there is a huge migrations which are happening from other tools to Microsoft Fabric, within Microsoft ecosystem, from ADA, from Synapse. Even those who are using tons of content in legacy Power BI data flows are migrating to Microsoft Fabric. So everybody understand that to be AI ready, which I was talking to you, quite some time, that you need to be AI ready. How would you be AI ready with multiple sources of truth? You can't say my data scientist gives me a different picture than my data analyst or my end user. All of you need to talk about the same numbers, and that is where Microsoft Fabric comes there. And again, the same Microsoft behavior that they listen to the customer. Everything which you see in Microsoft Fabric which is getting developed is having the customer feedback, how customer want to experience this platform. So it's customer oriented, it's end user oriented, it is AI. You can't say it's just AI enabled. AI is part of this ecosystem. It is built in ecosystem. You are not bringing it separately. That is the beauty of this platform, and that's why Microsoft and its partners and its customers are saying this is the futuristic platform everybody is looking forward.
So now coming to real-time intelligence in Microsoft Fabric, Can you give an example of what that means in practice?
See, Microsoft Fabric has a lot of things for real-time analytics. First of all, previously there used to be Custo. Uh, we used to call it Custo database in Azure World or Azure Custo database. Now we have Event House, which have KQL database, again the Custo database here, which is available in Microsoft Fabric. So you can bring in your real-time data, and it is specially designed for that. It is designed for the scale of data when you have this humongous data, and it need to be structured. It could be JSON data also. That humongous data can be taken in, and while the data is in memory and getting committed, you can do those big queries to know the stats out there. So that is the enablement. Now around this there are tons of connector which is coming in. First thing is, if you are using Azure IoT Hub or Azure Event Hub, then you can get the data from there to the Event House. Then we have now HTTP connector and many such connectors which can get real-time data from your databases to Microsoft Fabric Event House. So we have event stream which can capture data from various things and then put it into, let's say, lake house or event house, or even for further decision making to, let's say, Python notebooks, or maybe you want to start some Power Automate flow, that you can also do. So in this aspect, the Microsoft Fabric real-time analytics ecosystem is complete, and to more you can go ahead and explore real-time hub. Specifically, we have one separate real-time analytics hub in Microsoft Fabric, which is help you out in bringing the entire real-time analytics data, helping you to take decisions.
And also you mentioned AI capabilities in Fabric. So is this something only data scientists can use, or is it accessible to all business users?
See, we have to understand that there is a part in Microsoft Fabric which we call the notebooks part, which is basically where you can write down the code and you can use it. And typically it's thought about that this is for data scientists. But with the help of Copilot, inbuilt inside all the work streams of Microsoft Fabric, even an end user who understands little bit about it, that I need this kind of stuff. So you can go and say that I want to do the clustering based on these columns and give me the outcome. And you can not talk about a specific outcome which you need. I'm just giving one example, very technical. Or you can say, okay, I have this data, these columns typically predicts the outcome of this column. Can you validate and check these columns? Is it predicting the outcome? And find out the right set of columns and then create a model which predicts it, and then how can I use it? All these things can be done. So Copilot's helping. But more than that, what happens is Microsoft partners are also helping in building this ecosystem at next level. So just for an example, at Kanerika, we have built in Carl. So Carl not only answers your questions, just like your data agent does, it can also give you futuristic analysis. It can give you the future trending, forecasting. It can also create visualization for you when you ask some questions. And then you can have that conversational decision based on the previous context. So in this manner, Microsoft Fabric's data AI or Microsoft Fabric's what you call machine learning or deep learning is not only restricted to the people who only are data scientists, but end users will also be able to use it. And that is where the entire agentic AI framework or Copilot framework or the partner network is working to make sure it is getting enabled for the end user and doesn't remain a tool for data scientists or the technology users.
So now let's talk about the elephant in the room. Like, there are many organizations who are still running on legacy BI tools, be it Cognos or SSRS. They want to modernize, but they are stuck. So what do you think people fear most about switching platforms?
See, we have to understand that when you developed all these things, it took years for you. And some of these older implementation would have taken, let's say, 2 years, 3 years, and then stabilization, running stable for last 5 years. You trust all those numbers. You don't want to go ahead and start another exercise which is going to happen in 2 to 5 years. And that's the biggest threat, that there would be a downtime. How would we test it? How would we validate the data accuracy? Can we move that too quickly? Because users can't wait. then definitely there is a change management part comes to it, which we also talked in the past. So biggest challenge, if you ask me, is basically time to migration. How much time it's going to take, and is there a downtime? So the organization don't want to face a downtime.
So there are definitely many factors involved there, but organizations can't just flip a switch, right? So what's the alternative to manual migration?
See, manual migrations are going to be a time-taking process.
Yeah.
And that is where you need help from, let's say migration tools, which can help you in quickly migrate. Identify what can be migrated quickly and then migrate it. And at Kanerika, we understood this, that this is going to happen because of AI and Microsoft Fabric's ecosystem, which is available here. And that is where we created all these tools. So when we talk about SQL Server, which include SSRS, SSIS, SSAS to Fabric. Similarly, when we talk about Azure to Fabric, where we include ADF and Synapse. Similarly, there are other tools like Informatica to Fabric. Then we have like Tableau to Power. Then we have like Tableau to Power BI, Cognos to Power BI. All these accelerator built in. What these accelerator does it reduces the time for it reduces the time for the customer from going from system A to system B, or you can say from legacy systems to Microsoft Fabric or Power BI ecosystem, which enable them to go to this new system quickly without having a downtime and with a trust. And with tools like Data Validator, which helps you in validating the data, which will even make it much faster.
Can you walk me through how this actually works in practice?
So we have to understand first how the migration would work. To understand that, we need to know what is there in our ecosystem. So we might have thousands of reports. So how many reports we have, how complex they are, and can they be migrated completely, or what percentage that can be migrated? We wanted to know, because we understand this, that the two tools are really different. You can't say A is equivalent of B. It's not. So what we have done is we created this pre-migration tool for all our migration steps. It goes inside your ecosystem, tells you what all assets you have, how complex they are, what is the percentage of migration it's going to do. And then these tools also calculate how much manual effort is required, if any. There could be chances that your reports get migrated 100%. And based on that, it creates that report, which makes it now predictable. That okay, this much time is required in migration, these things will be easily migrated, and these things have little bit of challenge, or these things are really complex where we need to work on. Now, so what some of our customer does it, after looking at the pre-migration report, they realize, oh, we have so much of content. Then they go and ask one question, do we really need this content in new ecosystem? And that is where some of the customers, what they does it, they look at, okay, looking at the reports uses, are they really using these reports for last few months or years? And they find out, okay, some of these are just created, not being used. So, okay, we have one report where it's wherever possible, we give you when the last time it has been used and how much it has been used. Like there are ecosystem which supports it. There are legacy ecosystem which doesn't support it, we can't provide that. So whatever ecosystem support, we provide you with that information. And what does it does is it immediately take out huge bulk content which is actually not in use. So that reduces your scope. So now the pre-migration is done. We are ready to migrate. The tools is self-service driven. You migrate it. After the migration, it generates a post-migration report. What has been migrated, what is not migrated, and where you need to have an action item. So pre-migration to post-migration is something which we help you out, and after that it is just making sure that it works, and then we do the regular quality assurance, which is also an automation.
But what about data validation? How do you prove that everything works the same or even better after migration?
So now let's come to the data validation part. Let's say you migrated to these tools. So we have data validator which actually can help you in comparing these results with the older system, which can also help you in automating this entire process of validation. And once the data is validated, you are trusting it, you can start rolling out the reports. And then, you start with one set of reports, rolling it out to user, they start trusting it, another set of report, third set of report. And in this manner, in a predictable time frame, you will be able to completely shift from one system to another system. And think about it, from legacy system, you will save cost. So you will have cost for internal infrastructure, you will have license cost. And the similar cost now can be given to the new ecosystem, where you can have the fabric capacity and all those, which is really, and fabric is one thing which is really aggressively planned. So you will find really benefit of it. Then you got that modern AI enabled infrastructure, which will also help you in getting ready for the AI.
So for any CXOs that are listening right now and realizes, yeah, that's our problem, legacy BI tools, high cost. So what's the most strategic step that you suggest they take in next 30 days?
See, first is, I'm assuming all the CXO who are having this kind of question, they already decided that they need to move to, cloud native or AI native platforms. So first thing is, they can come to Kanerika and we can help them with the pre-migration report. And as I said already, once you look at the pre-migration report, you will get idea of your assets, and that will help you in analyzing what actually you have. And from that, how much you need, that's something which you need to decide. Now, the second thing which you can do after looking at the pre-migration report is basically, you would like to start a POC, a proof of concept, where you say, okay, how it's going to happen. And we can have a proof of concept on certain set of report where we migrate and showcase you how it's going to happen. While that proof of concept is happening, you can go inside your organization and find out, what is not needed, what are the high impact item, at which should be the order of migration. Because it's really important what is your order of migration from tool A to tool B. I know it's going to happen quickly, but still, because you are there on a tool for some time, you need to have an order. So you decide that order, and Kanerika can also help you out in that. So once you decide that order and once your POC is done, that's the time when we start the actual migration. Now, in the actual migration process, we plan out the entire stuff. This is how it's going to happen. This is where these reports are going to come out. There where the high impact reports are going to come out. These are the set of users who are going to be needed for testing of these and who need to be trained on this. So you can start the migration as soon as you start rolling out, training, and making sure the change management happens can be done that in period of time. And this entire end-to-end cycle can be managed by your IT team or can be managed by Kanerika as a full service offering to you.
So Amit, this has been incredibly insightful. But before we wrap up, do you have any final thoughts for our listeners?
At Kanerika, we believe that AI is the future, and having data platforms which are futuristic, AI enabled, is that something which is going to lead all the organization's success in this era. And if you are a customer who are looking forward to it, let's talk on it. We have our tools like Khan and Azure to Fabric migration, which are available for free till the FabCon. And if you are a customer who are coming at FabCon, don't miss out opportunity to meet the Kanerika team and have a look at all our migration tools, not only from Azure to Fabric, but also like legacy tools to Power BI or to Fabric. And let's interact and plan out what is the best path for you to migrate from legacy system to modernized infrastructure.
Thank you all for listening to this episode. If you want to modernize your data platform, visit us at www.kanerika.com or reach out to us directly. Well, see you at FabCon 2026.